about today was, if you guys have noticed, throughout Instagram, there have been changes after changes after changes, and I think that July/August has been probably one of the busiest months I've seen in the past few years, of like new things that are coming out on Instagram and like, what does this all mean? I'm going to, for most of the time today, I'm going to have my phone mirrored up here, so please feel free to follow along, do the same thing on your guys' phones so you guys can, get a feel of what I'm mentioning. But before we get started, one thing that I do want to talk about here is, let me turn this on. There was a video, if you follow either myself or Chicago Title account, I did a video yesterday, the day before, and so I'm going to summarize what this video is about. Kind of has to do with social media, but I just want to start here because this is kind of new information. But essentially, 1 out of 10 people are now going to AI instead of Google for their searches. I am one of those 10. Yeah.
Okay, but I do Google and it comes up with AI.
Yes. So
what's the difference?
Yeah. So I mean, essentially, you're still utilizing AI in that sense, right? But your initial destination is Google, right? You initially go to Google,
right,
but AI summarizes it for you, correct?
How do you go to AI?
So I go to ChatGPT directly. You could go to Perplexity, you could go to Claude, you could go to any AI model. Yep, and then essentially I just ask the tool directly in ChatGPT rather than going to Google. Yes. So when I say 1 out of 10 people, that they're going to one of those destinations.
And that'll probably increase, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. And really the reason why I got in the habit of doing that is because I prefer to have it summarized for me instead of looking through each link. But Google, Bing, etc., all the search engines, they realize that quickly. They're like, oh shoot, we're losing a little bit of market share here. We need to make sure that we summarize it for people. And I'm glad you said that, because that kind of brings me into my next piece here. Is this video is all about being able to show up in an AI search. If someone's going and they're saying top real estate agent in Scottsdale, and they're doing that in ChatGPT or any other platform, how do you show up? Because we've spent so many years saying, okay, I need to make sure my SEO is really good so I can show up at the top of Google, right? That's what we've been working on for years and years and years. And that's still relevant, still very important, but we're also now focusing on showing up in an AI search. And so some of the buzzwords you might start to hear, instead of SEO, focusing on your SEO, is focusing on your AEO and your GEO. So AEO is answer engine optimization. So that example that you just did where Google summarizes it, that's an answer engine optimization where it's giving you an answer. Rather than you looking through all the search results, you're getting that answer fed to you. The other one is generative engine optimization. GEO is generative. So that is where ChatGPT generates what it believes is the response. So that's your answer. AEO and GEO, they're kind of one and the same, but you're going to start to hear those words more and more. And so what this video talks about is, all right, we want to make sure if someone's going to an AI tool, how do I be found? And so how you can do that. There's a few different ways. First is, and it kind of follows the same rule of thumb that you would do to show up at the top of Google. First is going to be making sure that your you have NAP consistency. So NAP is name, address, phone number. So making sure that across every single website that's out there, your name, your address, your phone number stays the same on every website. And I think that gets a little tricky sometimes because there's so many website directories out there where you're just like, how did I even end up on this site? Like, what is this website? How did it pull my information? And however some of these directory websites pull their information, maybe they somehow indexed it from a past brokerage you were at, and it has the wrong address because you're like, I'm not there anymore. My address is now here. So it's being able to scan the web and make sure that what's showing up is all consistent across the board. So that's one thing. Another thing is, if you, like in this example right here, if you want to show up in this search result, so top real estate agents in Scottsdale, if that was what you wanted to show up for, I want you to look at all those keywords. Top real estate agent, Scottsdale, maybe you want to be in like a niche result. So it's luxury real estate, right? All of the words that you would want to populate for, those are the words that you need to have all over your website, in your about section, in your bio, all over your social media. When you're creating content, put it in your captions. When you're doing videos, you should be talking about, you should be like dropping those words every so often. So if I really want to show up for top luxury real estate agent, I should be saying those words repetitively throughout all of my stuff. And so it's knowing what would be a typical search that a consumer would do, and how do I want to show up? I want to show up as top real estate agent in Scottsdale, right? So you're utilizing those keywords. Blogging has kind of come back, and it's making its way, becoming more important, because with blogging, you're able to get more and more and more keywords out there. So people are using AI to write the blogs for them, because people are like, oh, I don't have time to sit and write 1,500 words, every week. And so they're using AI to kind of write the blogs for them. People are housing them on their websites. If you don't have a website to house your blog, you can go to LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, you can publish an article on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has really, really strong SEO. And it pulls up for a lot of AI searches, Google searches, wherever people are going. Like LinkedIn is always a top result. So if you're putting your blogs out on LinkedIn, then you're able to, again, kind of infiltrate the web with more keywords relevant to you. With that being said, getting more press coverage. So you can reach out to like local media news sources. You could reach out to Arizona Family and say, hey, I specialize in helping first-time home buyers. I realize that this is kind of an issue right now in our market, is getting first-time home buyers into their homes for the first time, and I wrote this whole article on how to do that. Like, would you like to share this? And so what they'll do is they'll cite you, and they'll kind of create their own content from it too. So they're excited because now they've got a piece that they don't have to build. You've helped them build that, but you can get referenced, and again, your name will be out there across the web even more. So reach out to local media sources. And then I know there's one more that I'm missing that my brain's not getting to the top of. Oh, that's what it was. So having a Google business profile, of course, we've talked about that many times, but also having an Apple Business Connect page. I read yesterday that 60% of people have iPhone over an Android. So with that being said, I know me personally, I usually use Apple Maps instead of Google Maps. So when I'm pulling up my phone, I'm usually using Apple Maps right here. And so when you're using Apple Maps and I'm looking for, pizza near me, right? So all of these are Apple Business Connect profiles. So if someone were to say, real estate services near me, right? You want to make sure that you're popping up. So it's the same exact theory behind Google business profiles, but because Apple and iPhone has such a big market share, it is important to be listed in Apple Maps as well. So all of that being said, let me back up. ChatGPT, where is it getting its information from? It's pulling from Google, it's pulling from Bing, and it's pulling from the knowledge base that it has. Now, let's take that a step further. Google, as of last month, Google is now pulling information from Instagram. So I'm trying to come full circle here. Google is now pulling information from Instagram. And so if I were to make sure that my Instagram content is exactly how I want to show up in a Google search, in an AI search. I have the opportunity for all the content I'm putting out here to show up in one of those searches. So by putting more and more content out on Instagram, you have a better opportunity to show up on an AI search or in a Google search. So that was my full circle moment, kind of talking about that new video I just put out this week. But let's dive in here to Instagram, and we're going to talk about some of the new features. One thing, and I'm going to leap with this because I did this a couple minutes ago. This came out, the news came out about this yesterday, if you saw, linked reels. And so if I click on this, let me tell you a little bit about linked reels. What people are thinking that this is that now you're able to put a link in your reels, which that is not what it is. That would be awesome if we could then put a hyperlink to our website or wherever we're trying to land people to. But that's not it. So what this is if I'm going to create a video, and this example right here, this is part 1 of my video. I can then, at the bottom, there's a little link right there, and I can say, here's the link to part 2. So it's grouping and linking together existing videos to kind of create a series. So maybe I want to do a series about everything that it's like to live in McDowell Mountain Ranch. And so one video is about the aquatic center, one's about the golf course, and every video I kind of highlight something about McDowell Mountain Ranch. This is how I could link them all together, and in my video I can say, check the linked reel below to learn more about the golf community. And so then people can click it and they can be directed to your next video. So that's what linked reels are. Really good if you're creating content, and like I said, you want to create a series of some sort. So look for that. Just so you know, every new feature that comes out through Instagram, it takes time for it to hit everybody's account. I always notice it comes in a wave where like my personal account will get it, and then the Chicago title, or vice versa, and like they're not always at the exact same time. So if you don't see the opportunity to do this yet, just give it a few days, weeks, yeah.
Okay, so you create episode 1, but you haven't created episode 2 yet.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to have a link at the bottom.
So you would do it in episode 2, linking back to episode 1.
No, but okay, fine. But on episode 1, you want to link to episode 2. So does Instagram give you the ability to go back in and edit? Or
Yep, you can always edit later, yeah. And this, I don't have access to this yet personally, so I haven't been able to try it yet. They said this 45 minutes ago. But we will test that. I mean, that's the intent behind it, is to be able to connect them after the fact.
Okay, so, but
sure.
On your example there, so you had already created a second video, is what you're saying, and so on the number 1, you put that link to number 2 immediately, because you already had the second link, or the second reel, right?
I would say backwards. But yeah, I see what you're saying here. So you wouldn't be able to link a video that's not existing yet, right? Right. So in this case, part 1 links to part 2. So your thought behind it is, yes, after the fact, I can go into video 1, and then I can link part 2 once part 2 is live, right? That's kind of like the thought behind it, I believe. Okay, so yeah, that's one of those examples where something new just came out. It seems like every day something new is coming out. Yes.
Does Instagram? That's why I'm in this class. Yeah. I have an Instagram account, but I haven't really used it. For, all the benefits or whatever. Do they have a similar thing like Google and Apple, like a business profile? It just seems pretty limited.
No. So no, you don't have a
about me section. Or
well, I mean, essentially, you have a bio right here, so you do have room to put. It's limited to 150-ish characters, 160 characters, but you do have opportunity to put keywords right here in your bio, and these keywords are important. Whatever I'm putting in here, so I have escrow, title, Maricopa Canal, residential, commercial, builder, so like all those words are important, because if someone were to go into Instagram, and you can search, so there is a opportunity to search in here where we could potentially pop up if someone were to say those say those keywords, but the purpose behind Instagram is photos and videos, right? Where the purpose behind Google and Apple Business Connect is for you to be able to have a business presence and people to be able to find your business and read reviews. That's a big intent behind those.
So Apple Business Connect, this is the first time I've ever heard about this. So is like, you're doing that through Apple Maps?
You're doing it through, you would go, I think it's business.apple.com, but you have to have an Apple ID.
Right, I've got an account with Apple,
Yep,
right?
so you log in with your Apple ID and then at business.apple.com or whatever the exact URL is, you're able to create a new business location from there. Yeah. And we could do a class on that next month too. Okay, so that was one of the newest, as of yesterday, updates that came out. Another really big one is reposts. So reposts came out last week, the week before. Reposts is if I'm going through the news feed here and there's something, there's something that I want to share. I don't know. Some of these things I don't want to share a lot of these things. But if there was something in here, you know what, Jill? I'm going to your account. I was like, I don't want to share any of this.
What you want to share from mine?
Alright, well, I guess this is summer golf special. That's almost over. I'm going to go back to creators, and I'm going to reshare this because this just came out. So if I want to repost this, I'm going to hit this button right here. This little, whatever, I don't even know what to call it. Going in a circle button. I am going to repost this, and as soon as I hit it, now it's saying, okay, Chicago Title reposted it. So anyone who follows Chicago Title is now going to also see this post. But the difference between how I'm reposting this right now is it still says creators the author. It doesn't say Chicago Title is the author. It's just saying that I thought it was good and I wanted to reshare it. And so I think all my followers should see this. But it still shows creators as the author of the post.
Okay, so you're posting that to your Instagram account.
Yeah, and so the great thing with this is, I mean, obviously this is a really big account, but not only did creators get in front of their 20.5 million followers, as if they needed any help. They've already got in front of 20.5 million followers, but 164 people have reposted it. So now they're in front of 164 people's followers, right? So that audience just multiplied like crazy. So by reposting somebody's stuff, that creators is able to get a whole lot more reach. So that's gonna really help as these reposts start climbing and climbing and climbing. Instagram's like, okay, well, people are showing that this is valuable and they want to share it with others. So let's keep showing this one because obviously people are gravitating towards it and people want to share it. So that's the new repost feature. Now, what is going to happen is if you go to our profile here, so this is our Chicago Title profile. It doesn't, the great thing about it is that post that I just reposted, it doesn't show up on my newsfeed. Like this is all still our stuff, but there's a tab now. This tab shows anything that I've reposted. So I reposted this, reposted that, and so now I have a separate tab for things that I've reposted, things that I thought were so beneficial that I want people to see it. Now it lives here. And so that's kind of the difference when people were like, oh, should I be collaborating or should I be reposting? The difference is when I'm collaborating, and here's an example, it shows at the top that Lindsay Sanchez and Chicago Title are the authors. But when you come down here, technically I was the author, Chicago Title just collaborated. So instead what could happen is we could go we could go to the video and we could just repost it instead of collaborating. And when you repost it, it doesn't show up in the grid, it shows up under the post tab. So either way, it's the same functionality where now you're getting in front of somebody else's audience and it's showing up in their newsfeed. So either way, the how you measure it is kind of the same, but how it shows up on your profile looks a little different. Instead of it being here, it would now be in here if I decided to repost. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It sounds like you're suggesting, and this is kind of a very commonly debated question.
Yeah.
You should create a brand new account for your business.
No.
Okay, but I hear different sides of this all the time.
But isn't IG both?
It can be. And yes, to your point, everyone kind of has a different opinion on it. I don't agree with that because I think that your Instagram profile is to nurture relationships. A lot of people think social media is a lead generation platform. I don't think it's a lead generation platform. I think it's a brand builder, and I think it's somewhere for you to just develop relationships and showcase your brand and get people to know you. And so with that being said, people don't want to just learn about houses because that can get really boring. People want to learn about you as a human. And so if you look at the Chicago title page, I try to make it as really showcasing the team. Like here's us, we're doing a silly video. I do some education, right? I do some education on here, but I also want to show like our team doing fun things. And like, if I were to post about title and escrow all the time, how boring would that be? No one would care. They'd be like, don't care about ways to hold title in Arizona. So instead, I try to showcase, there you go. Here's our team's high school senior photos. There's Jill. But like this is
Last year.
Yeah. These are like more fun, get to know us stuff, right? Like these are more of the fun, lighthearted things. And this is actually where we get the best results. We get the best results on this. I don't get the best results on ways to take title in Arizona. No, people don't care. But of course, like I'll sprinkle in little business tidbits here and there because I do want people to know that we're a reputable brand and what the premise of our business is. But I'm using this more to build brand authority and to create relationships.
But that technically is a business account.
It is, but like it's a company, right? So for you guys as individual agents, instead of you having two that you're managing where you're like, oh, here's everything that I did this summer versus here's all the listings that I have, you should morph that into one, right?
How do you do that?
Just have one account. Like if at this current moment you have two accounts, I would get rid of whichever one has the least amount of followers, and the one that is built up a little bit more, I would stick with that one, and I would make it a nice hybrid of posting the things about you and your hobbies. And the thing with that is like everyone kind of has their boundaries with that. Some people are like, don't want my kids on there, and that's totally fine. Like you don't necessarily have to put your kids on there, but you can say in different posts like, it's back to school, I'm helping getting the kids ready to go to school. You don't need to show them, you don't need to tell people where they go to school or stuff like that, but people will then know I'm also a mom, I can relate, and I can relate to the getting back to school struggle, and it just helps create some sort of human connection right there where it doesn't feel like it's someone just trying to sell me a house. It's a mom with kids who's trying to go to back to school and trying to draw human connection.
So then, because like I have a personal and then I have a business, and I do pretty much everything on the business.
Yeah.
But you're saying, so rather than start over, then I don't know how to merge, but I guess.
Not necessarily merge, just pick one. One that has a.
Okay, but I have all the stuff on my business,
Yep.
so then rather than repost it or whatever to my personal, then just change my business account to my name?
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, I can show you here. This is our boss, right? So Brian, you can see right here how he mentions he's with Chicago Title. He talks about work. He links different work URLs in his bio. But he also, yes, he talks about work here, but he also talks about his family vacation and his summer in Tahoe, right? So he does quite a blend of work, but then also this is work, right? He does that, but then this is him on his bike ride. So it's kind of like merging the two worlds together is what I mean. Not like an actual technical merge, just the content that you're trying to blend together.
I also feel like by doing that, people start to get to know you and they feel like they know you and they can reach out to you, and then when they do reach out to you, they talk to you like they know you.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and your mind doesn't know, like if you see somebody on video all the time and you don't see them in person every week, but you see them posting something every week, you feel like you know them, you feel like you've seen them, because your mind doesn't know that, oh, it was just a video. It's like, oh, I feel like I saw Lindsay yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, I did, but not in person. So and it's building that whole trust. Like they feel like they get to know you without ever, maybe they haven't met you. And, like Lindsay said, they find oh, she's a mom. So like I can relate to that. Like the craziness of, so you're just kind of building that connection to people that you would maybe never have known. And people work with people they know, like, trust. So you
and then
be that person.
Kind of going off that and talking about metrics, this is something that I always pay attention to is I go back through all of our posts and I see what did better than others, so I know, okay, people gravitate more towards this, I need to do a little more of that. But I will say, I'm going to go to my personal one right here. This one had 1,700 views. And what I will say is, I was actually kind of shocked that it only got 52 likes. Whatever. But the amount of conversations I had with people after the fact, people are like, oh my gosh, I saw you were golfing in Utah. Like, was it amazing? Did you love it? And I had so many in-person conversations. And the people who talked to me about it, I'm like, you didn't like it, you didn't comment on it, which is fine. But the point being is, after the fact, I was able to connect with them and have an authentic conversation about something that we were both interested in. And so I thought, okay, Lindsay, don't get so hung up on you only got 52 likes or whatever it is, because like I said, I had so many in-person conversations after the fact.
Well, people are consuming content but not stopping to like it. And same thing to Lindsay's. I took a vacation this summer, and everybody I've seen since then, they're like, oh my gosh, tell me about the tree, tell me about all the things. And it's like, you didn't comment, you didn't say anything, but they obviously consumed what I was putting out without saying anything. So if you're consistent with what you're putting out, not just your just listen, just sold, because those are it's irrelevant for probably 90-something% of your followers. I mean, it's proof of you doing your job, which is great, but that should not be all of what it is, because it's just, people will start to kind of just glaze through and scroll past you and not really see you as a natural person. And it's social media, they want to see the social side of who you are. So.
Yeah. Yep.
It amazes me. I mean, it doesn't have to be your vacations and trips even. One of my teammates, her most reacted to posts that she does is a 3 to 5 second video of her going through the car wash.
Yeah.
People love the car wash.
Yeah. You know what's funny is we had a client the other day. She did a video from the car wash, and I was interested. I stopped because I was like, oh, what's she doing in the car wash? I don't know. I looked at it.
So too, I had my daughter. I filmed her in the car, because she was so happy in the car wash, and just for fun. And then it's so many comments, and I'm like, this is so random. I didn't think I'd get real. I just this is so cute. I'm just gonna post her.
Yeah, and it's kind of that stuff where it's a little more simple, where you're like, how did that take off, right? You're like, okay, but good point, because I want to talk a little bit about the metrics. So Instagram calls them insights, right? So knowing your data and what is going on behind the scenes. So if I were to click on, I'll click on this one right here, and you click View Insights, right? You get to know some of your metrics. And like I said, I always go through these because I want to know what's working, what's not. There's a few. There's new ones that are coming out, and not every single one has. Let's see if I go into this one. I mean, obviously this one was like the one that went off. So this is a cool metric to see. Did people like watch past the first 3 seconds? Because the first 3 seconds are pretty pivotal to see if people are going to retain that and watch it. And so 84% of people did watch past the first 3 seconds, which was great. So that's one of the newer graphs. There is another one. I wonder if I can see it on any other video. Another one.
And you do have to have a creator or a professional account to get the metrics. So if you have a personal account and you don't see any of this stuff, it's super easy to switch it, and then you'll get all of the.
Yeah. Well, okay. So some of these, it kind of varies which of your content pieces have which pieces of data. It depends on when it was posted, because if it was posted before the feature came out, you won't have it. It also depends on how well it performed. So if it performed better, you'll have more data to compare. So it kind of varies. But when you look at, and I'll go back to this really good one. When you look at the metrics here, the order of importance of which metric here do we care the most about? The number one metric, and this has been proven through lots of experimentation, Instagram has come out and said it themselves, is shares. The one right in the middle. Shares is your most important metric. And looking at this, that kind of helps prove the point here, is 48,000 people decided to share this. Why it's so important is because if I'm sharing it, and I'm sharing it with a friend, or I'm sharing it to my story, or however I'm sharing it with others, that's telling Instagram, oh, people thought this was entertaining enough, valuable enough, whatever it is, that other people need to know about it. And often, it's kind of the funny ones where you're like, oh my gosh, this is so silly, I need to share it with a friend. Those are the ones where they typically get the most shares, or it's the ones that are kind of relatable. I don't know how many times, there's so many like girly ones where they're like kind of bagging on the boyfriends, and like the girls will send it to me, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so Joe or whomever, like it's just funny. And so when they're like kind of relatable, then people tend to share them a little bit more. If it was, here's my new listing in Silverleaf, right? Oh, that's a bad example because those houses are stunning. Here's my new example in McDowell Mountain Ranch. People aren't probably going to share it to their story and be like, oh, look at what Jill posted, like that typically doesn't get as many shares. So yeah, shares is the most important. Reposts. Now, because it's new, it hasn't taken off as much, but that will be the next important metric because they're kind of the same thing. It's the same idea of that you think it's valuable, that you want other people to see it. So pay attention to that one. Surprisingly, I didn't think this was the case, but research has kind of shown otherwise. Likes hold more weight than comments. I would have thought comments would be a little bit more important, because I find that likes are so simple, right? Like I could come through and I could double tap, right? Like I can just come through and like all of these without doing anything. But if I'm stopping and I'm commenting, then I'm having a little bit more intention engaging with it. So then likes, comments, and then saves are last. Saves are the least important metric that I have learned. I used to think they were actually a little more important, but they don't hold as much weight. And the reason why is, if you've ever been guilty of this as I am, I will sit there and I will save a delicious recipe that I never look at again. I don't make. I have all the best intentions of like, oh, that looks really good. I should save this so I can make it later. And then I never do it. So I think people save things without doing anything with it. And so because people it's not getting any more exposure, it's just kind of sitting in a folder, it's not as heavily important. So yeah. These two though. These are the two that I want you guys to keep your eyes on, shares and reposts. And when you see that number start to spike, you're like, this is the stuff I need to create more of. And just so you know, every single post has those insights, right? So I go through and you can look at your insights individually for each one. You can go, as Jill was mentioning, you have to have a professional account, so it has to be a business / or creator account. If you're one of those two, you have a professional dashboard where you get all your insights in here, and I can look at all of my posts in one place, and it organizes it for me. So for the month of July through beginning of August, this was the best one. This was the best, and this one. Like, it kind of puts them in order. It tells you where. This isn't going to be too helpful, but United States is where they're coming from. Yeah. So looking at the data, I think, is very important. But they are continuing to put more and more data analytics out there so you can get even more understanding. Yeah.
Thank you. If you switch your account to a business account, do you begin incurring charges? Are there charges?
Nope.
Really?
It's free. There's a couple things that I would share with you guys before you do that. So there's 3 types of accounts. You have personal, you have business, and you have creator. Business and creator are both professional accounts, so they both land under the professional umbrella. A business account is just what you think it would be. It's for a business. A creator account was developed in 2020. It was originally developed for travel bloggers, and then travel did not happen in 2020. So what ended up happening was they're like, okay, well, this doesn't need to be, just for travel bloggers. Like, this could be for anyone who's trying to create content and influence something. So then that became like the influencer era, where it was like, oh, these pants are from Abercrombie or whatever. Everyone shares like all the things that they are promoting and buying and stuff like that. So it kind of morphed into that. But what happened was businesses started to realize that creators had an advantage. The advantage is they could leverage music for their posts. And businesses can do music as well. They can use music also, but they can, because it's a business account, they are assuming you're using it for commercial purposes, so you can't use any trendy music. So if it was AC/DC, the Rolling Stones, like any popular artist, you can't do that on a business account because you're using it for commercial purposes. So if you're a creator and I'm just kind of influencing things, you can use any music you want, and it's been proven that music has a huge part in getting attention, right? So I mean, seriously, like this one with the 5.3 million views, that is strictly about music. This whole video is just about music. And so with that being said, creator is the account that I would always recommend somebody to have, because you have all of the professional tools, but you also have that music to access to music. So how you would do that? Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, can you convert my business page?
Your existing one, yeah. So how you do this is once you're on your profile, so you have to be on your profile first, and then there's 3 lines at the top right, the hamburger we call it, the 3 lines up there, and then when you scroll down. Well, first of all, I know, because right here it says creator tools, I know that means I'm a creator account. But let me just keep going.
They moved it last one.
Yeah, they moved it. Account status. So if you go down to account status, nope, that's not it. What the heck?
It took me a while
You can always Google or chat GPT
Right?
how
They
to do it.
change it pretty
They won't be able to
often.
find it.
No,
Tell me open tab.
let's see. Well, let's just go to.
But you're already a creator, so it
I
probably
am.
doesn't.
but it'll still give you the
Yeah.
option because she can switch back from
Oh.
creator to personal if she wanted
Oh.
Yes, you can change at any point. You
Okay.
change it
Account
literally
setting.
weekly. Well, okay. Nonetheless, I can do it from here. I know I can. So in yours might say business tools and controls instead of creator tools. If it says one of those two, you can come into here, and at the bottom it says switch account type.
Okay.
And when you switch, so right now I don't have the opportunity to switch to creator because that's what I am. But whatever you are right now, you won't see that one. If you're personal right now, it won't. It will say if you're personal, it'll say switch to professional. That'll be your only option. So when you say switch to professional, it will then make you choose creator or business, and creator is the one that you want. So yes.
So, like I have two. So, do you recommend I like delete my personal?
So yeah, I can look at that with you after just to kind of see. I would gauge which one has better following, which one has better engagement.
Yeah, I don't do anything on my personal.
Okay.
So
Then I would just delete it. And just so you know, and I can show you how to do that, but when you delete an account, it doesn't actually like fully go away until I think it's about 90 days later. It actually will go away. I think they kind of do that in case people change their mind and they just want to leave that up for a little bit. But it does take a while for it to like permanently delete, which is fine. I would just, the one that you do decide to move forward with, like just emphasize on putting any content out there and making relationships on that one.
in some regards, I think it might be faster to just search Instagram and start reposting a lot instead of creating your own stuff.
Totally. And here's the benefit to that idea is, and I wouldn't get like crazy with it,
Right.
but because sometimes if whatever it is,
Backfire.
any feature that you do like too much of, it thinks it's like spam and it thinks it's a bot, because bots just can rapid fire, you know. So don't do too much. But I do like that idea because Instagram likes that you're using their new feature, and they're trying to promote reposts. They're trying to get people to use that, and so by you playing their game, that could potentially help you with your reach. So that was one of the new features, reposts. The other one is Instagram Maps. I don't know if you guys have seen the maps
No.
yet. So
Like Google and Apple.
no, it's a little bit creepier. It's it is like Snapchat. I'm sure you probably have never used the Snapchat map before, but in okay, so you're at your profile right now, and at the top right again, you hit the hamburger. You go down to Story, Live, and Location. When you go to Location, there is a location map, and it defaults to be turned off, but you have the opportunity to share your location with people. And I don't want to share my location with people. I don't want people to know where I'm at. So I've made sure that it's set to no one. But the default is no one. Just so you guys are aware. Default is no one. But if you decided you wanted to share your location with others, you can. And on the map, there are people who have decided to share their location. And I can see where these people are at. Now, notice right here at the bottom, 13 hours ago. So what happens is that was the last time this person opened up their Instagram. So their Instagram app hasn't been open since 13 hours ago. It's pulling where the Instagram app was last opened at, right? So this person could now be in Phoenix and not in Chandler, but 13 hours ago they were in Chandler. So that is a new thing where people can see where you're at. But the good thing I like about it is when I zoom in to the map here, yes, I'm able to see whoever decided to share their locations, but I can see content that has been posted from a certain area. So this is where it comes in handy. You don't, and just so you know, you don't need to share your location at all for your content to pop up. And that's how I'm moving forward, is I don't want to share my location, but I want my content to appear on the map so it has another opportunity to be seen. And so as I scroll, we can scroll in or zoom in, I guess, to kind of where we're at. We're over here. Nope, nobody posts content from over there. Well, we'll go a little bit more west.
Well, is it going to do that though if you have it turned off?
Yes, but you have to put in a location tag manually. So, and I'll show you how to do this. So on this person right here, we'll click on this one. This one looks nice. Holly Henbess. So Holly Henbess is doing her post that she created is about something going on at Weston Kierland. And because she tagged the location, she tagged that this content piece is about the Weston Kierlands, it was able to show up on the map. And where I zoomed in on the map was the Weston. So that's why it populated. We don't have, you saw the list of people who share their location. Holly's not on there. Holly's not one of them that shared her location. But when she uploaded this content piece, and I like this video, when she uploaded this content piece, she tagged that this is at the Western Kierland, and that is why her content piece appeared on this map. And so the benefit to this, by adding your location tag on all of your content, is you have the opportunity to come into a map search, right? So all these people who have tagged the location, it's now in the map search. And just so you know, these are only people I'm following. It's not the whole public population. You have to be following that person in order to see it pop up on your map. Yes?
All that drone footage, for example, what looks like stock footage of
Right.
Weston, she didn't do that.
Right. Exactly.
She hired
tagged
someone,
in.
yeah.
Or she reposted the Weston.
She could have.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, do you have the right or authority to repost corporate?
I can say for Holly, I know that her videographer, she pays somebody. So she doesn't take that content from anyone. I know she pays someone to do that for her, and she does get the permission. But here's the thing, the Western Kierland wants that.
Oh, sure.
They're like,
So you think they'd be
please.
happy if people shared that stock
Yes.
footage that
But I will say
brochure
there probably are people out there who are using somebody else's drone footage. Like I said, I know she actually pays someone to do that, but there's stock video out there that you can use, like through Canva or through, there's a lot of stock video out there that you can use. So, but back to the maps. I would hide your location unless you want people to know where you're at. And then I would, when you're doing your posts, make sure that you tag the location. And how you're going to do this is, let's say I'm going to share this image right here. And I'm going to do it. There is always an opportunity to add a location tag. So if I add location, and I say this is at the Rim Golf Club, which that is not the address for the Rim Golf Club. Let's say, there we go. So if I were to post this, it is pulling that this is at 300 South Clubhouse in Payson. And so if you were to go on the maps, and you zoom in to that part of Payson, you will see my post pop up. And again, only my followers are going to see that. It's not like the general public's going to see it.
So you're saying, I don't even remember how many many followers I have or whatever, but like if I were to post something or repost something, it would automatically go on their maps.
No, you have to be the author of it. So a repost, no, but if you're the author, so let's say you reposted what I put out there, it wouldn't go on yours. It would only go on mine.
Well,
But
my followers,
correct.
it would,
Correct. But if you're the author, so let's say you were the original author of this,
right?
it would show the people who follow you, it would show on their map.
That's what I mean.
Yep. And here's actually, now that we're on this page, if you add music, right? You add music, you have all the fun, trending audio. If I was a business account, I wouldn't have access to all these Rolling Stone songs. You wouldn't be able to use them because you're using it for business purposes, so you can't license the music to do that. But as a creator, I can do it.
So,
Yes.
so to his point though, because he asked about business, as a creator, you don't pay any fees or whatever to use it.
The only stipulation is you can only use it through Instagram. You can't download it, put it on your website or wherever. It has to live on Instagram. Because Instagram pays their own royalty or what they pay to license this music from this library, right?
So
I wondered who was feeding the monkey, you know?
Yeah, Instagram.
So a lot of times, because Instagram and Facebook, they're sister companies.
Yes.
But so can you share it with Facebook too? That okay?
Yes, you
so that'll
can.
work. Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
So essentially, I guess if we're going to be more correct, Meta. So
Meta.
Meta is the one
Right.
who pays this
Okay.
bill, and so with Meta owning both Facebook and Instagram, you can do it to both.
How interesting. So to her point though, does the stuff that you're posting on Instagram go on your Meta account or
Your Facebook? Yes.
Facebook page?
You have to.
If you have it set up.
You have to set that up.
Oh.
But yes. So down here, I've got that set up. But see, it says, do you also want to share this on? It's basically saying, do you want to share this on Facebook as well? And so I do. I have that turned on. You can see right here with the little Facebook icon. I do have that turned on, so it will share to both at the same time. Yep. And Facebook, just so you guys are aware, Facebook had some new updates. They realized that Instagram, the number one format type consumed is Reels. So video. People want to watch video. And Facebook, for a while, it didn't really take off all that much.
You want videos on
Videos on Facebook didn't take off as much as they took off on Instagram. And so Facebook's trying to change that, where they're trying to push video a little bit more on Facebook. And so I did a little video on all of that. And so now, any video that you put on Facebook, it's now considered a reel. It could be a 3-second video, it could be a 30-minute long video. It's all still considered a reel, and it will be posted vertically.
I thought that there was a time limit on the reels.
It gets a little tricky because you can upload a video that's 30 minutes long, but it's categorized as a reel, even though by definition it's not a short form video reel. The semantics
If
get weird.
if people were only looking at 3 seconds, I wouldn't waste my time with 30 minutes. I mean, who's gonna watch that?
30 minutes I wouldn't do.
I have a couple questions for you. If you post from Instagram and then share it to Facebook, do you know if it hurts your views on your Facebook page if you do it that way and vice versa?
Like instead of doing them separately,
Right.
I haven't tested that, but honestly, I don't think it would. I've heard that before. I've heard that myth, but I don't think it would because in my mind, from what I've learned, is any feature that Instagram or Facebook is going to give you to do, if you follow their features, like they want you to do well, right? They want you to have success, so you keep putting out content so they can keep people on the app and serve ads and make money. And so any feature that they're offering to you by you doing it, it shouldn't ever hurt you. And to that point, if you guys don't already follow the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, he is the CEO. He, every single week, he does like a Q&A session where people ask like little myths and they're like, is this true? And he either says, yes, that's true, or he debunks them and he goes, no, that's not how our algorithm works or whatever. But he does them every single week. And so I actually, here's one. Does the duration of a reel affect the reach? Up to 30 seconds versus more than 30 seconds. And he kind of talks about like how does the algorithm work and what's true, what's not true. And so that's the reason that I follow him on my personal. I'll follow him here too. But it's just really good information to kind of hear the take from Instagram directly if these things are true or false. But I would think, based off everything I've learned from him, if a feature is out there, they want it to work for you, not against you. So, yes.
You kind of touched on what you just said. I follow it on my personal, but not my business.
But, okay, so it's not my business. Chicago Title isn't my business.
Right.
I just happen to be the marketing manager.
Okay.
Right? So it's not Lindsay Sanchez's business.
But, okay, I'm just trying to understand. So it sounds like you have a personal and a creator account.
Mine is creator. Lindsay Sanchez has one account, and it's a creator account.
But you just said you had a personal.
Well, she's representing the Chicago Title, like when she's talking
so
about.
I guess I didn't use the technical term. I follow you.
Okay.
It's
like I'm Jill, like I'm me, Chicago Title. Like but she's representing our company as a whole, so it's not really her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what she's showing is from the company's page, but it's not her page. If that makes sense. Like
And you-
but
are your own
I did
company.
say my personal, and I mean like my Lindsay Sanchez account.
Right.
But by definition, I have a creator account. So if you go into my professional dashboard here, I have a professional dashboard. But if you were to go into my settings, and you go down, you see creator tools. I'm a creator.
Okay. So, but just to that point though, I just want to. It sounds like you have both, so I should probably keep both.
Nope.
No,
No,
she has
she's
one.
running
She
a-
just represents the Chicago.
Yeah.
But I would
Okay,
say,
yeah,
okay,
sorry.
okay.
No. You were talking.
Okay. I would say though, like, I guess it's a personal preference to have both because I know that my business account, I don't really want to share my kids on there
Yep.
because we want more people to follow me,
Yeah.
random people I don't know, but I don't want them to see my kids, and I don't
Yeah.
want people that actually know me to like.
That's what,
So that's
I
why-
mentioned that at the beginning, is like it's totally a personal preference with boundaries. Some people are like, I don't want any of that mixed. And there's reason. There's like good reason for that
But like
too.
you said, you can still show your personal side, just don't show your kids like
You can
faces
selectively
on.
grab
Yeah.
things from your
Yeah.
social life if you
But
want.
to that point though, can't somebody like figure out what your personal IG account is?
It'd just be a different
Sure, but if
name.
it's
I would make
private,
it.
then
you
Yeah.
can make them
I-
private.
Oh.
Some people
Yeah.
can't. They can't see.
Yeah.
I see.
Mine's completely private to where
I see.
And some people like instead of putting Lindsay Sanchez, they might put like
Lindsay S.
Lindsay S or something, right? So they couldn't find you as easily.
Interesting.
But yes, there's definitely, I think there's plenty of people who want to keep it separate for those personal boundaries, and I respect that, and I think there's very good reason for that. I think that I would always say to do one account just because I find that when you have two, it's just double the work, right? And so I can manage one and put up the boundaries that I want for my life in the one. But yeah, there's totally good reason for having two.
Yeah, I mean, just to amplify the point, I have you work for Chicago Title, right? I work for my own PLLC, so that's a business. It's not me.
Yes.
You know, in other words, I'm creating a brand, I'm creating a business. It is kind of separate from my own personal life. It is another identity. It's another capacity of my life. So I believe that a separate creator account is better for my personal life.
Yeah, and everyone's
And
kind of.
also one more thing. Sadly, we live in an extremely polarized society right now where you have, right and left and blue and red and all this crap. So it's so easy to offend someone now. You wouldn't want to have somebody, like I have business and family up in Oregon and then I have it down here.
Yeah.
And that's part of my plan is I'm going to work the pipeline between the Pacific Northwest and the Southwest. So you got to be very careful what you say to these Portlanders or what they see versus what some of these other people's
Yeah.
like. I don't.
Yep. I just avoid all of that. I do my best. Yes.
I'm sort of changing topics. If you subscribe to verify your account, do you think it does help you in?
That's a really good question. Someone asked me that yesterday. So there is something called Meta Verified, and you can see our account, the Chicago title. The Chicago Titles account has the blue check mark. Yep. So that means that we as a company pay $10 a month to verify this account. The reason I don't find that we get any more or less
Followers?
No, I wouldn't say followers, but push. Yeah, I guess cred, but we don't get any more push because of it. The reason why we have it is because at this point once we got to 4,000 followers, I was like, I don't want to lose this account. I want to make sure that as Lindsay Sanchez, I have lost my account previously due to hackers, and at this point, because we've accumulated a decent following and we have content that's working for us, I don't want us to lose that due to a hacker, and so that was the reason why we pay for the $10 a month.
$10 a month is awfully cheap for that kind of insurance, I would say.
Correct. So you get, in terms of the reach, I don't think it's any greater than I've noticed on Lindsay Sanchez's creator account, but I do find that I have more security to ensure nothing's going to happen to this account with the $10. Okay, so we went through those couple new updates. I would say, there's lots of the data analytics, the repost I think is the biggest one. The maps is important to remember, and then I do want to remind you guys that the linked reels, we talked about that at the very beginning, that is coming out and that is important. We talked about which metrics are going to be the most important. So remember, take a look at the shares and the reposts. If people are putting your content out there and they want to share it with their followers, that kind of shows that that's what people are gravitating towards, and people want more of that. So pay attention to that. And then lastly, before we move into the ads piece that Jill had mentioned, I want you to notice, if you haven't noticed this yet, that the grid here, all of the images you see are now rectangles instead of squares. So for the longest time, it was right here. It was a square, and you can see that this image was a square. So if you're still creating content in Canva or wherever you're creating content and you're doing a square, it will cut off. You can kind of see right here that the words on the side are cut off. Half of Jill's face is cut off right here. So make sure you're resizing it.
That's really interesting because I use Canva.
And it still says Instagram post size.
Yeah.
They haven't changed the verbiage yet. I know.
Wow.
I know. So this 4:5 ratio, so instead of the square, you have 1080 by 1080 pixels on the square. Do the 4:5 aspect ratio where it's more rectangular. And so the reason why they changed it is because if I'm in the news feed, let me go through the news feed. So right here, I'm in the news feed. This takes up pretty much the whole screen. So as Surf City USA, they have a little more real estate, so to speak, on the screen. But let's see, I'm gonna see if I can find an example. I don't know if anyone's still doing.
You know what music there is?
Yeah, I don't know if right. If anyone's doing a square post, but nonetheless, if it's a square, right, it's gonna get cut off right here, and then you would see somebody else's post. So okay, here you go. That a square?
Yeah.
I think that's a square. But you can tell as a square, I've already started getting into the next person's post. Like you can see somebody else's stuff on the screen. But as a rectangle, when it's a little bit longer,
Portrait,
you don't see anybody else's stuff. And so that's kind of why they moved to that, is so you have just more space taking up on the screen. And so I've gravitated to really enjoy having more real estate, so to say, on the screen. So just keep that in mind.
And when you share it to your story, it also shares it more like
Vertical.
it doesn't, like if you used to share it to your story, it was like a square, you had a bunch of stuff, space above and below it. Now it fills up more of that that story
Yeah, like back to
space.
here. I mean, I reshared this. Remember, that was the post we were looking at earlier from the creator account. When I post this on my story here, it kind of fills up the screen a little bit more vertically. So, Jill, do you want me to plug this in real quick? And then I can. Do you guys have any more questions? Then we're still gonna talk about Instagram as I plug into the computer here. But do you have any more questions on what I shared here?
Oh, well, so as far as the verify thing, so
Yes.
do you have to do both, verify on Meta and verify on Instagram?
It's one.
Which one?
It
Meta.
doesn't matter.
So Meta
That's
verifies your account.
Meta owns both.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So just one charge.
One ring to rule.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take this HDMI cord and I'm just gonna pump it into here. All right. So Jill mentioned that we are able to run ads a little bit easier. If you've ever tried to run an ad through Meta's Business Center or their ad manager, it's the worst. It is the absolute worst. So we have a tool called Walled Garden. Walled Garden is created by, he is a Facebook marketer. So he's one of our partners and his name is Travis. Travis works directly with Facebook. Anytime Facebook has a new update, Travis is one of the first on the product development side to learn about new things. So because he works so closely with Facebook as one of their partners, he has learned quite a bit. He's run thousands and thousands of ads, so he created this tool. Because I think the biggest feedback when people run ads, people are like, oh, it changes all the time. First of all, the ads manager in Business Center changes all the time. And so it's so painful to navigate through that back end. And so he's like, let's create something way simpler. And so this is one of her clients' accounts that we run, that we're in right now. And she ran an ad for. Before I show you all the details though, I want to show you how easy it is. This is the home page, right? So I clicked home. Oh, I like your mouse pad. That is nice. Way better than mine. So when you're in here, you have a couple options. There's templates, of course, but there's also start from scratch. So I'm going to show you start from scratch. This is probably the most time consuming option, and I'm going to show you still how quick it is.
Are you on Facebook?
No, so I'm on Walled Garden. Walled Garden HQ is the name of the tool. We do have a Chicago title dashboard that we can connect you on to give you a little extra access to some bonus things on here. If you decide you want to use this, connect with Jill, she can get you set up. But essentially, when you log into Walled Garden HQ, you're logging in with your Facebook email and password. So the login is what you would use to log into Facebook. Once you get there,
I will say, like, if you want to do this, let's sit down and do it together, because there's some additional things that you have to give Walled Garden access to be able to run ads on your behalf in Meta. So there's some, like we ran into when we first did this, there were some additional things that it was like, oh, the ad's running, but then we had to go back and check something in the, I know how to do it now.
she knows how to do
yeah,
it. So if you want to do it,
initially getting it set up.
And like I said, our Chicago title platform, we have a couple extra bonus features. Okay, so in here, you pick your business page that you're running it from. This is important. You always want to make sure that you say, we are in the housing industry. If you don't, your ad will get rejected. And if it, by some miracle, doesn't get rejected and makes it through, it will eventually get shut down and your account will be suspended. So you want to always disclaim you are in the housing industry, because there are certain rules that we have to follow, equal housing rules that we need to abide by. And so the platform needs to know that. And then you say, what is your goal? Lead generation is going, and that sounds the shiniest, right? The best. But lead generation, what that does is a little box will pop up where it says, give me your name, phone number, email, right? It's that lead capture form that comes up for you to get their information. And then the alternative would be brand awareness, where a box doesn't pop up. Instead, it is just directing people to maybe your Instagram page. Like, people can learn more about your brand and see more content that you're putting out there. And drive traffic, it can direct people to your website, to an app, whatever that is. But for right now, I'm going to show you brand awareness, because that's what Bob did. And
I
then,
think we did lead, actually. Or not lead,
No.
the last one.
oh,
But
what?
it doesn't.
Yeah. All right, so then here, right, you're uploading your media. Is it a video? Is it images? And just so you know, you can put in multiple images if you want to do like a carousel. Let's say it was promoting a listing and you want to drop image of the exterior and then the kitchen and then the living area. Like, you can do multiple. Or you can do a video. So if you already have a video created, you can upload that in here. I'm just gonna, for time's sake, just put one really quick in here. I think this one's
There's probably, click on I just have desktop tour stuff, but I think I just deleted it from the desktop. Yeah, do that first one.
this one?
Yeah.
Great. Next. And then here, right, you put in your headline. And just so you know, there is an opportunity to use AI to do the headline for you, but you could say sunset escaped in North Scottsdale. And then your caption goes here. And then you have your call to action button, so it's learn more, and I want to send people to my website. Right, so then you go next, and it gives you a little preview of what it's going to look like. Everything that I typed in, where you see caption goes here, sunset escape in North Scottsdale, right? This is what it looks like on Facebook. This is what it looks like in the Instagram feed. This is what it looks like in the stories. I hit finish. And then your last thing you got to do is you have to say how many days you're going to run it for. What is your daily budget? Your target area. So right here we have $10 a day. So notice $10 is your minimum. And the reason why that is your minimum is because Travis has done this countless times, and he knows that you're not going to really get much activity if you're spending less than $10 a day on this. So at $10 a day, it's kind of your entry level. You can say, oh, I want to do I don't think you can do zip codes.
And just so you know, because you are in housing, the smallest radius that you can do is a 15-mile radius. So if you drop a pin drop somewhere, I mean, 15 miles is pretty big. So like,
Yeah.
if you want to hit all of Scottsdale, just do kind of the central part of Scottsdale and then expand it out. But just because of fair housing, you can't put any additional.
Yeah, you can see the
parameters
smallest
on
I can go is 15. But if you're like, no, I want to get more granular than that, because to her point, 15 miles is huge. You can actually do a custom audience. And so a custom audience allows you to upload an Excel file. And if you were to reach out to Jill and you said, I want to go after everyone in DC Ranch and McDowell Mountain Ranch, our team can pull a list, our property research team can pull a list of consumers' email addresses who live in that neighborhood. So if you're like, no, I only want to target this neighborhood, I don't want to do 15 miles around Scottsdale because that's the whole valley, then you can upload that custom audience list right here. So that's an option. But back to that target area. So let's say you did want to do Scottsdale. You put that in there. I can also start to layer on other cities too. Like if I want to start doing, we're about to hit we're not yet, but it'll be cold over there, and they're gonna want to come over here. So we can say, right? I don't know, anywhere that is cold.
So any feeder markets, like, so if like if you want to highlight, living in Scottsdale doesn't necessarily be a house. You could highlight, golf communities or whatever, and you could run it to those feeder markets. So we know Illinois is a big feeder market. Like, there's these little pockets, the Pacific Northwest, like you said. Like, there's a reason that people are moving here. So, you can run those ads strategically to different feeder markets, which when she goes back to show you the report on this ad that we ran for Bob, he ran it to feeder markets because he's like, my house is a perfect walk and leave, like low maintenance, all of the things. And he's like, if people are already here, they've already probably seen the house. So he wanted to market to people that potentially, and he highlighted the walkability of it being in Old Town and all that kind of stuff. So there's lots of different strategies behind, you're targeting your audience.
Yep. And then the last option is page engagement. So instead of doing like a location, you can say, I want to target people who have gone to my page, who have looked at one of my posts, who have reacted with one of my posts, have commented, like however they're interacting with your existing stuff. That's retargeting, right? So if you are finding that you've done, maybe there's a particular listing that you have just putting content out there, and you're like, I'm getting traction, but I'm not getting any leads for buyers. Let's go after them again. Let's keep hitting that same group of people. So that's right here when you see that is retargeting people who have already interacted with your Instagram or Facebook page. So those are your options, and then at the bottom, if you're doing the math right now, you're like, that doesn't add up. $10 a day for 10 days should be $100. $129. $29 is the management fee that Travis's platform takes. So in order for you to use Travis's well-guarded tool, this is the cost that he does per ad to run his business. And so why would you pay that $29 management fee? Well, simply it's because you saw that this could literally take you 5 minutes instead of trying to build this out in Ads Manager and take you an hour. Like the simplicity of being able to use this. And then I want to share with you the ad that she's referring to. So I will say, Bob, we saw that it was $10 a day was your minimum. He did $30 a day. So with that extra ad spend, he was able to get it was 10 days, correct?
Yeah, so he did, $30 a day.
For 10 days.
Yeah, 30 for 10 days.
And so he got almost 40,000 views. He was able to reach almost 27,000 people. 2,100 people clicked and went to wherever his destination is. So if you click on Learn More, it took directly to the property's landing page. And then this is crazy to me. So right now, the industry average on a Facebook ad is $1.81 per click. So he was able to get paid 14 cents per click onto that website. So if anything, maybe he didn't find a buyer lead out of this, and this is kind of a unique one because this is his property, but if anything, let's say he wants to show to the seller and say, seller, look, I was able to get you 39,000 views in 10 days on your property. And so it's being able to generate this report is really awesome, again, for your
this ad just finished like running last week, I want to say. So, and then he was traveling, but I'm curious. I asked him, I told him he needed to check his website analytics because we drove them to the single property page on his website to see what other, what other pages got activity from like landing, like in that 10 days, what did traffic look like on the different pages on his website? Because obviously the goal was to drive traffic for more information about the website, but I'm sure that people jumped around once they got there. And like he ran it to like St. Paul, I don't know, like some Midwest, some Northwest, like he ran a couple of different pockets. Northern California, I think, was one of them. So he ran multiple feeder markets. So.
Yep. And then that was me starting the thing from scratch. He used a template. So he used one of these, let's pretend it was this one. he used this one, and instead of putting just sold, then he just put, you know, whatever it is that he wanted to do. You can make that, you know, much smaller if you need to. You can change the colors. Maybe my brand color is red. You can do all of that stuff.
Can you do videos as well?
There's not video templates, but you can upload videos on the Start From Scratch. Yep.
But I feel like the home evaluation, like you could be running that on a pretty broad scale. You know, there's templates where you're driving people to like a home bot or someplace where it's like, are you wondering what, you know, how much equity you have in your house? Like, you know, as an agent, it's just constant branding. You can have it set, you know, you could do the $10 a day for, you know, every month and just have it constantly running and doing it in different markets. And it's just, you know, it's just branding. And if you're driving them to a place where they can see multiple things about you, like it's great.
Yep, it's brand
And
new.
And then the $29, is that monthly or is it every time you run an ad?
Every time you run an ad.
Oh.
Yep.
And then, sorry,
Yeah,
the
go
video,
ahead.
sometimes because I've noticed when you use like a third party, it reduces the quality of your video. Does that happen?
I haven't seen, I mean, if the video is high res to begin with, like whoever's creating the video, if they're sending it to you in a high res, it should be fine.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it not.
It's only an issue if it's not a high res copy.
Yes. Yes, I think
And that's
I've
on
seen it
anything, like if you have a low res photo. I mean, social media, not so much on the photos, like you can't tell that it's not print quality usually, but it, like on the videos you can, like if it gets super fuzzy or whatever.
Deleting that draft. So it doesn't.
He's like, why are they emailing me about a draft for the house that's not
So yeah, so that's, if you want to learn a little bit more and get into any sort of advertising, past everything we talked about today before this though, this is all organic. This is all free strategies for you to have a better reach through Instagram, more brand awareness. But if you want to start getting into some paid advertising, put some dollars behind it, this is a tool. I would definitely connect with Jill a little bit more on that.
super easy.
Oh, good.
So I hope you guys learned a thing or two.
Yeah.
I do.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristen.
Always.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alright, there you are. Okay. I'm so happy that this works.
Yeah, that worked out
Oh.
pretty seamlessly.
Yeah,
So,
I needed this.
I want to try and do what you're suggesting, and so I'm not like social media savvy. I have all these accounts, but I don't.
Yeah, you want to get this start to use them, huh?
Yeah, so would I sit down with you or Jill?
So Jill, she's our business development manager, so you would sit with her, but if she needed to pull me in, sometimes there's like situations where if there's like a topic, she's like, oh, I need Lindsay's brain for this, she'll pull me into certain ones, but Jill's the point of contact.
I know enough, I've sat through
Yeah.
enough of these classes, I know enough to be dangerous.
Jill